Hello everyone, Aceaight here, and welcome back to my tutorial on how to make your own custom lucky block. Today we're going to go over how to make your own textures for the block and how to make sure everything looks pretty clean in the game itself. As usual, I'm going to put timestamps in the description. If you already know how to make your own textures, I recommend going on to part 3 where we're going a bit more in depth in the coding of the lucky blocks. But for this part, we're just going to go use the assets in the folder. So what you want to do is, right now I'm in the Minecraft folder. You just want to go to add-ons, lucky, and here you see the custom lucky block we installed last episode. The first thing you want to do is rename this. You want to have your own cool lucky block name. Personally, I find it more reliable to put the name of your lucky block at the start. For example, you have the spiral lucky block out there, you have my lucky block, the rainbow lucky block, or you have the, I think there's an emerald lucky block or something. So you want to put the name of your lucky block at the start. You don't have to do this, it's just a personal preference. So for my lucky block today, I'm going to name it the elemental lucky block, because I think that's a pretty cool name. And you might want to add the version of Minecraft that you're using at the end there, so people know what version they have to be in to play this lucky block. So after you've done that, you just open the file up. So this should be what you see if you open it up. So the first thing you want to do when you're in here is you want to go to this plugin underscore init part, this little thing right here. See, so you have the block ID, the sword ID, the bow ID, and the potion ID. You want to change this to the block you have. For me, it's elemental. The same goes here. Every word that says custom, you want to change to the block you're making. So for me, it's elemental. And the reason we're doing this is because if you just leave it as custom lucky block or custom lucky potion or whatever, if you do that, then most people who are going to make the same blocks, their IDs are going to overlap. Because if you have two different add-ons of lucky blocks installed that are both called lucky block custom, then it's going to crash. You're going to get an error from your game saying, dude, there's two IDs that are the exact same, I can't load this. To prevent that, you just want to name them whatever you desire. And then you just save that, just Control S that, and then go back to the archive. It says, it's going to ask you if you want to update it. You say yes. So now you have this done. Also, make sure these names are easy to remember. So what I'd like to do is just keep the original name and just add stuff like elemental to it, wherever custom was placed. So it's easy to remember what you placed here, as well as don't use capitals. Don't use capitals here. It'll just be annoying later on. Just make sure it's easy to remember and easy to write. Alright, so we've done that. Then a very small change you want to do at the start as well is go to the pack MC meta. You just change this word custom to whatever the name is of your block. The reason you're doing this is when people check what mods they have installed, they'll get a little description, and if it just says Lucky Block Custom and they've downloaded like 4 or 5 of them, it'll all say Lucky Block Custom if you don't change it. I'd recommend changing this. It's not necessary, but I would definitely do that. Yes, we are gonna save that and update it. So now we've done that, we're done with this little folder. We're gonna go into the assets folder. And in the assets folder, we're going into the lucky folder. First, we're going to want to go to blockstates. So in this, you can see this little file right here. You see luckyblockcustom.json. The first thing you want to do is rename the custom part to whatever you called the block ID before. So for me, it's elemental, right? And then you open that up, and here's where things get interesting. The reason is that this little thingy right here, it's not completely right, and that's why in the previous video when I placed the block down, it was purple and black. To prevent it from being purple and black, you just want to change this to block / and then change this custom part to whatever you want to name your block. So another thing you want to change is this part right here, where it says normal. You just delete that. Don't do anything with it. This is exactly how you want it. Just save it. And then you update this one right here. And that's it. That's all you need to do here. So then you go back. Let's go change the language real quick. So you see this file right here. This enuslang. You want to change this whole thing. You want to change it to and then small letter US, and then .json. That's the file you want to have. You don't want to have the capital US and then the lang as the extension. You want to have it as a JSON file. I open it up, and everything that's in here, you can delete it. You don't need it. All you need is this right here. This is the original Lucky Block language file. I'm going to put this in the description. I'll put the end, what we're going to put in there in the description. So you want to get this part right here. You want to get the Lucky Block. First off, you want to put these little brackets here. So you want to put the Lucky Block right there. Maybe put a little tab for good measure. And then you want to put these three in there as well. Don't make the mistake I made today. I was looking for a little problem I had, and I finally found it. There's a comma here. Make sure there's no comma over there, otherwise you'll be searching for that forever. So now you have this. You want to change this to whatever you have it set as. I have the elemental Lucky Block, and I want to call that the elemental, with a capital, elemental. And actually, I made that wrong. That's the thing with these mods. For some reason, when they made this the first time, decided to name them Lucky Block and then the name of their Lucky Block. So for the block, you put the name of your block after the text, and for the sword, the bow, and the potion, you put it in front of it. So elemental sword and bow and potion. Elemental sword, bow, and potion. Elemental. There we go. And then you just change this one to element. Damn it! Why can't I type mental? There we go. So that's all you need to do here as well. So this is already done. So now we're at the halfway point, basically. We're not really. We're kind of at the halfway point, but these were the easy files. As a recap, make sure this one is not in capitals. Make sure it's a JSON file, and then I'll put these ones in the description, this little part code of the code, I'll put it in the description. And you just have to change everything that says elemental, or maybe I'll just change it back to custom, but you need to change this part to whatever your block name is going to be called, as well as these little elemental parts right here. That's all you need to do. You can close out of there. Cool. So next up, we're going to go to models. And first, let's go to block, because that's just one file. First things you want to do here, same as every other file, you just want to change this part where it says custom, you want to change that to elemental, or in your case, whatever your block is. Whenever I call something elemental, just realize that you have your own name for that. Don't put elemental down like I did. So here you want to put elemental as well. And then just save that. And save that. And that's all you need to do here as well. It's pretty easy, actually, to change everything. So here there are a lot more files. First thing you want to do is, once again, this. We're going to just focus on the block for now. Elemental. We're going to come back to the items in just a sec. So let's just finish up the block. Here, let's put this one at elemental as well. Elemental. Goes out of there, and then go into the textures file. And all you need to do now is change this little texture right here. I know it's still the custom version. It's still gray, and it's still not really very beautiful. We're going to make it beautiful in a second. But now let's just change it to elemental PNG. So now we have that done. Let's change out the items, and let's change the models here, and go to the items. So now we're going to change the rest of the items. So first, we want to go and change the names, as we've done for all the others. Change custom to elemental, and once you have that done, you can edit the files, because in there, you want to change the part where it says custom. So now you open every single one of these. And a little trick I like to do, because there's some big files here where you're like, oh shit, where I have to change a lot of things. Don't worry, what I like to do is just, if you have Notepad++, just Control Find. Notepad++ is actually the program I really like to use for coding the entire thing of the Lucky Blocks, because they're not really Java coding, they're just like kind of weird add-ons. So Notepad++ is definitely the program I would use. So what you want to do is you want to go to search and then place, and I'm sorry this is all in Dutch. Maybe I can change it to English. Hold on, let me just see if I can change that to English. There, that's better. I changed it to English so you guys can follow along. So what you want to do is just Control F, press your key on your keyboard, press Control and then F together. And then you want to do replace and just put in the word custom right here. Just put in custom and replace it with elemental. That's what I'm doing. And then I'm just going to do replace all in all open documents. So I've opened every single document right here, and I'm going to replace everything that's called custom into elemental for every single one. So I'm just going to do that right there. And now all 12 have changed, except for apparently this one, because I already changed that one myself. Yep, there we go. Just do that. It's a little shortcut. It's easy. And then you just click here for save all, right? And then go back here, and then just update everything right here. Yeah, sorry for all the Dutch thingies. I'm gonna change it into the next video. I'll change all of my settings to English so you guys can follow along way easier. So now we're going back to the textures actually, and into the items. And now you want to change all of these to elemental as well. And the final one, elemental. And the reason you might have noticed already that there are a lot of bows. Like there's a bow standard, pulling 2, pulling 1, and pulling 0. That's just a little animation your character does when they're aiming with the bow. So you have 3, here I can show you. You have 3 little thingies. For example, you have pulling 2 where it's like pulled all the way out, and then pulling 0 where it's just pulled just a little bit. And then you have the standard bow without the arrow inside when you're just holding it in your hand like this. So you have 4 animation frames for every bow you're going to add to the game. So yeah, that's all you need. So now you're going to start Minecraft. Alright, it's downloading. And we're going to start the world. And now we should be good right there. So what I like to do is check if everything's right. So if I put in lucky thingies, there we go. So now we have the sword, the bow, and the potion right here. So the textures are kind of bland. We're going to change those in a sec. But just so you know that everything worked out alright, you should be able to see everything like this. There shouldn't be a problem. And make sure that the names are right, that the names all say elemental lucky block or whatever your name is, or potion or bow or sword respectively. And make sure they don't say like elemental lucky block dot name or whatever, because that is very ugly. If it does say that, if you do have the problem that it's just saying some weird string format code, make sure that you watch the part from the language again, because it could be a little bit confusing. It took me a while to figure that out for 1.15, because it changed from previous versions of Minecraft, how the format works. So that might be a little problem you ran into. And if so, I recommend checking that part out again. Okay, cool. So now this all works. There's no problem there. So what we want to do now is we want to create some textures for the blocks, because right now they're gray, they're ugly, they're not what you want to see. They're just not. They're just not. The way we're going to do that is we're going to get a image editor. The one I like to use that's free is GIMP. And I'm kind of using an old version of GIMP. You should install the latest version if you can. GIMP is a very easy program to use. So the first thing you want to do when you start up GIMP is you want to start making a new file. And once again, everything's in Dutch, so I'm going to change that real quick. I'll be right back. Alright, we're back. I fixed that. I changed the language to English so you guys can follow along. So what you want to do is you want to create a new file. And you want to make sure that whatever you created should be a square that is a multitude of, I think it's 16 by 16 at minimum. So it should be 16 by 16 at least. You could do this. So you could do this, probably make it transparent as a background, and then create it like that. That is an easy way to do it. But if you want to go bigger, you want to say, I want to make a very cool resolution texture, you might want to go bigger. You want to go 32 by 32 or something like that. But the easiest way you can get the right format is by just going here, going into blocks, grab the lucky block, and pull it in there, right there. Now you have the exact same format as what the lucky block was, which is 16 by 16. But now you have the question mark outline. That's pretty helpful. So what you want to do now is you want to select the little thingy right here, the white stuff, the square, right there, right there, right there, and right there. You want to cut it out and then paste it down, and then put this one to new layer. Okay, so now you have the question mark right there. That's all you need. And all you want to do now is change out the texture of the lucky block. And I'll be right back with you guys once I have a little template for it. Alright everyone, I'm back. I made my little texture for the block. It's not the prettiest, but it'll do. It's fine for now. So once you get the texture fixed, you just export it as a PNG. Let's call it lucky block elemental.png, and I'm just gonna put it on my desktop just to make it easy for myself to find it. Okay, so now you got that. All you have to do is go back to your desktop. You see it over there. So now I'm grabbing my elemental lucky block right here. You see it right there. And there we go. Go into the textures, go into the blocks. And here you see the old one, which is this. And now here's the new version that we're going to replace it with. So now when I click it, it's this one. And now when I open Minecraft, what should happen is that it gets the new texture. So what I did do is I made a 64 by 64 texture because my idea of the 4 elements wouldn't work with 16 by 16. So yeah, I just did that to make it easier for myself. But it doesn't matter. You can make it as high definition as you want. And once we get this done, we are going to change the swords and the bows and the potions. Alright, let's test it out. There we go. Bit of lag. There we go. Okay, cool. It works. It's not the prettiest, though it doesn't really look that bad either. It's just okay. It's an alright texture. So here you go. You can actually see your own creation into your game, which is a pretty cool thing if you've never done that before. So the same goes for the sword and the potion. For the bow, I am going to explain. So what you have to do with the bow is the following here. So we go to the items, and the bow has 4 textures. As you can see, it has bow standby, bow pulling 0, bow pulling 1, and bow pulling 2. So as you can see, you have the first one, which is standby, and then it goes and pulls a little bit further every time you get to the next texture. And this goes for every single bow in the game. This is just a standard formula. The bows you're using, first they're going to be standby when they're in your hand, then they're going over the 2 or the 3 animation frames when you're starting to shoot. And they also indicate how far it's pulled back. So, for example, if you release the bow with this, when this guy is loaded, it'll do less damage, and it'll go not as far as when you pull it all the way back with this animation. So you want to keep that in mind when you make a bow. It is 4 textures. You want to have 4 separate textures in this one right here. So I'll be back with you guys once I get all the textures fixed up, and I can show you guys what the end result will look like. Alrighty, we're back. I created some textures. They're not the nicest in the world. I mean, these bows can be better. The potion is meh. The sword is not that great either, but it'll work. We might change that in the future, or I might do that off camera. But yeah, so I got my bows here is bow standby, bow pulling 1, bow pulling 2, or 0, 1, 2. And all you want to do is add these ones into the lucky block folder you made, and make sure they keep the same name. So you want to make sure that these are all named correctly. So when I open them, they show up as the correct files. So now when I open Minecraft, I should be able to see everything in the game and all working nicely without any problems. So there we go. I got the block textures in here with the correct lucky blocks. Yeah, so we can actually use them in the next episode and create some custom drops out of them. If you want to see the sword, it's right there. Here we go. Let's make it pretty. There we go. Look at the sword. Look at it. Look at it. It's not that pretty, but that doesn't matter. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. In a later episode, I might actually show you guys how to animate the textures and make 3D models, but that's more advanced stuff, so let's keep it at the basics for now. And I'm gonna show you guys in the next episode how to make your own blocks drop custom things. 'Cause that's what it's all about, right? It's all about dropping custom things. And here's the potion if you wanted to see it. Still doesn't drop anything except for the basic stuff that is already coded into the game, so that's fine. But I hope you guys enjoyed this second part of the Lucky Block tutorial. If you did, then please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more of this content. And I'll see you guys next time when we're gonna add some drops to the game and to the block. It's gonna be awesome. Alright, see you guys next time. Video number 3, eh? This number's going up quick. I might lose count like this. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to check out part 3 by clicking in the video right here.